It's race week, and this Sunday it'll be the first ever Miami Grand Prix. I thought I could stat pad a few views from making a video all about it, so here is everything you need to know about the Miami Grand Prix in about 4 minutes. Plans for the race to take place were first submitted in 2018, with the race supposed to take place in 2019. The original circuit was a pretty strange one, racing around the American Airlines Arena and along Port Boulevard in a shape that looked like if someone crossed a sperm cell with an axe. Looking at the layout, it didn't look like the sort of place that would have great racing, and therefore it wouldn't have been great for the sport. So it's a good job it didn't go ahead thanks to complications with the development of Port Miami. The next layout was suggested in 2021, and that's largely the same as the one we're going to be using later this week. It goes around the Hard Rock Stadium and some surrounding car parks. Thrilling, I know. Now, at first, Formula 1 racing around a car park sounds very similar to an infamous race back in the 80s, but this track looks like a pretty good one. So let's talk through the layout a bit, shall we? Turn 1 is, like a lot of F1 circuits, a hairpin. Coming off the back of a fairly high-speed final sector, this could be one of the main passing opportunities in the lap. And while it has a fairly long runoff, I think we can still expect to see Nicholas Latifi in the wall. Turns 2 and 3 are probably going to be just about flat out, but with some steep curbs we could see some spins, especially on the exit of Turn 2. If the drivers can stay side by side through 2 and 3, then they're probably going to collide with one another on the entry of Turn 4, unless someone backs out. It's a very slight braking zone, followed by some almost flat corners in Turns 5 and 6, with a very early turn-in. If drivers can keep close behind through there though, then Turn 8 represents our second overtaking opportunity of the lap. It's a medium-speed trail-braking left-hander, but with the standard racing line being far over to the right, there's every chance we could see some big dives down the inside here. This section of corners was supposed to surround a sort of B-Tech Monaco harbour, but after realising they couldn't just dump a load of water and sand in the middle of a car park, the organisers have essentially built a playground, complete with fake water and Gunther Steiner's ships. Get these corners wrong though, and drivers will be heading into a wall that starts suddenly on the exit. There's a nice re-overtaking zone at turn 11 at the end of the not straight, so again this could create some interesting racing. We then have some more slow speed stuff in turn 12, before most drivers will be flat out again through turn 13. I say most because Latifi's car's still being retrieved from turn 1. Turn 14 and 15 make up a very interesting section, with late, slightly uphill braking, taking you to a sort of backwards version of Laguna Seca's corkscrew. It's crucial to get turn 16 right, as this takes you onto the back straight, and this one is actually straight. While the previous few corners will be a nightmare to follow through, this is an opportunity for drivers to once again get close to one another, with DRS likely to be very strong thanks to the track needing high downforce. If you don't complete the move before the end of the straight though, then I wouldn't be sending it down the inside of turn 17. It's a very tight corner, and unless you're a Red Bull driver behind a Williams or an Aston Martin, you're not getting anywhere except out of the car. Following that section of track, we have the flat out corners I mentioned at the start of the lap, which takes you over the line. This track has received a lot of criticism, especially for turns 11 to 16. Obviously, it's hard to just whip up a circuit in a year, but maybe that's the problem, and F1 should be focusing on building new, purpose-built tracks. But anyway, in the interest of keeping this video short, will the Miami Grand Prix be any good? Well, if you ask me, I think it will be. It'll definitely be tricky to pass through sectors 2 and 3, but long straights and tight corners could produce a show similar to Baku. Expect lots of moves into turn 1 and a lot of Saudi Arabia-style DRS fighting. This circuit has also received a lot of praise from drivers and designers, and no offense, but I think I'm going to be listening to a driver's opinion more than car_enthusiast109 on YouTube. In terms of visuals, I think this track's going to be one of the best looking ones in the season, if we ignore the water that you can walk on without being Jesus, and it's clear that the organisers have made a big effort to make it a good spectacle. This obviously won't be the best track for racing on the calendar, but with the excitement we've had so far this season, I wouldn't rule anything out just yet. The track is also slightly different to the onboards I've used to this video, so don't take everything as gospel. The corners will be the same, but it might not be as wide or thin at certain points. So let me finish with some predictions. Ferrari are apparently releasing 100% power on their engines after running them lower at the start of the season, and they're reportedly running lower downforce solutions for the race. There's been no reporting on Red Bull upgrades yet, but we already know that Ferrari were down on straight line speed relative to them, so while there may be a few upgrades on the way, I don't think there's going to be a huge difference between Imola and Miami for Red Bull. But with their Imola dominance, maybe they don't need anything just yet. I think it's going to be very close between the two teams, and ultimately it could end up being down to the driver to make the difference. Only time will tell though, and Sunday can't come soon enough.